It's always a pleasure to come your way with Scorecard every Sunday on Citi TV. A good weekend as far as sports is concerned. The Ghana Premier League going along really nicely. Mediama Sporting Club still without a win. 2 match weeks into the season. Same for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So we'll be talking about those two teams and what they need to do to get their seasons back on track. As far as the Premier League is concerned, we had a North London derby this weekend. It was Arsenal and Tottenham sharing the spoils. Manchester United managed to shave through with a single goal win. And then Liverpool also won when they took on West Ham United. However, Chelsea Football Club, the woes continue to pile up. A red card and a defeat this time to Aston Villa means that Mauricio Pochettino is beginning to feel the pressure. We'll bring you action from Spain and action from Germany as well. So a lot to chew on tonight on the show. Let's take a quick turn around here. When we come back, I'll introduce my guests. And so we are inching ever closer to the biggest corporate sports event in this country. The 30th at Eden Heights should be a blockbuster. Business Olympics, always action-packed. And like I said, look, if you haven't been to Eden Heights before, this is your chance to go out there and enjoy wonderful sporting facilities, indoor basketball courts. They are the only people who have a shot clock in this country. I mean, I have not seen one anywhere. Electronic scoreboard, good swimming pool. The facilities speak for themselves. Come out there and show your prowess. You've been criticizing Maguire every time. Come and show what you can do. Coach Nimley, see, I'm not sure why he's in the Bayern Munich shirt. He's supposed to be in a Manchester United shirt today, projecting your win. What's going on? What's going on?
So when it comes to crazy Manchester United, I don't need to wear a United shirt.
You mean you bleed United? Everybody
in the world knows. It's gone beyond Ghana.
It means global.
It's absolutely
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Edwin, is everything cool?
Yeah, everything cool. Just looking forward to...
No, the man is suffering.
Are you sure that everything is fine?
I don't know a club called Chelsea. I don't know why everyone keeps mentioning Chelsea.
Why you don't know Chelsea?
I forgot all.
Today, you are turning your back.
No, but he's not the first one who... Rita Mensah has jumped ship. She says that she's not a Chelsea fan, but she always finds a way to come and defend Chelsea issues. I don't know. It's really crazy for me, but hey, it's nice to have you guys on the show. You guys out there at home, let's hear from you. Chelsea fans especially. I really want to hear from you today. Let me know where you think the problem is coming from. Is it an ownership problem? Is it a coaching problem? Or is it a player problem? Because as things stand now, it looks like Chelsea might probably be on pace to finish off worse than they did last season. It's been that bad. The goals are not coming, the wins are not coming, the chances are continuously being created and being wasted. But let's start off on the local front, and let's start off with the Ghana Premier League. There were a couple of games that were played this weekend. Let's start off with that game between Gold Stars and Asante Kotoko, and then we'll get highlights also from Accra House of Folk and in Swatchaman. So back-to-back highlights in the local league. We'll come back in studio and discuss. So Asante Kotoko failing to win in 2 matches there. After their first game, Prosper Nate Ogum said there was nothing to worry about and that this team would gradually come up to his level. And so, nothing to worry about. Coach, I'm not sure if the fans of Kotoko can go 2 game days without a win and still think that everything is fine.
No, by the fans' expectation, they will be worried. It will come down to how the technical team, those who speak for the team, is able to manage the situation. I'm very happy that they have a coach who is trying to calm everybody down. The fans will have to believe in the process.
Okay.
It's a complete rebuild. Take it or leave it. It is what it is. It's a complete rebuild. And it's going to take time.
Okay.
Because if you are bringing in more than 7, 8, 9, 10 players, and they are all expected in there to come and form the core, it will take time for them to understand what is happening. And for me, they should have been having 0 points out of a possible 6. We all saw the bad decision that disallowed that goal last week. It was a perfect goal. But truth be told, this is Kumasi Asante Kotoko. You need to get out there and get the work done. You need the players to get out there to begin to work. Maybe the thing playing for Kotoko is playing for any other team. It's just like playing for any other team.
That's what it's become these days.
And I'm sure that the next game is a must-win game.
Can't go 3 wins without
I'll be the first person to admit, maybe per my understanding of football, if I'm a fan of Kotoko, I would have calmed down. I would still be very calm because they are not expected to win the league this season.
I was just about to
because
ask
I think there are better teams in the league than them. The Kotoko process would take 3 years to begin to flourish. As to whether
they have 3 years of patience.
3 years of patience to wait.
Yep.
It's another thing altogether. But let's go to the football. Look, Nketia, when you watch our league on TV, it becomes extremely difficult to tactically analyze because of the bad coverage, the bad cameraing and all that. If you look at it, the only thing I can comment on, more or less, is the goal, the marking, how sloppy they were, and how they couldn't realize that, look, this was going to be a cross, and therefore, it is not the player crossing the ball who's going to put the ball in the back of the net, but those targeted on the cross. So the marking should have been such that you cannot be given the attacking players of the team or of your opponent such a free header. Because the header was a free one, look at the distance. He didn't even get a full blast of it. Just a glancing header to the far post, and the goalkeeper was nowhere. You equalize, and again you concede another very bad goal in that second half. Look, it is going to be very, very difficult for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. The people at the club, Prosper Ogum, Akwesi Apia, those in charge, it is going to come down to how they manage the expectations of their fans. It is what it is. For Hasselhoff, it's nice to see them win. What a goal.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing beautiful about that. At the end of the day,
they managed to get
you want to put the ball in the back of the net. And
they have a new coach as well.
Yeah, they have a new coach. Again, it's going to take time. See, the problem with for the Hasselhoff, it is not the coach who did the recruitment.
Yeah.
It was done by Alaji
Management
Akambi,
members.
Odote, and the people. So look, if he's unable to do anything meaningful, you don't blame him. But at the end of the day, he should get the sack. Because that's the standard Dr. Nyao Tamaklo have said. That if any coach of Hasselhoff who comes into the team, if he doesn't win the league, should be sacked. Because if you had a coach who won the league, won the FA Cup, the following season, won the FA Cup, yet still you think he should have been sacked, it means that anybody who comes in,
the bar is very high.
The bar is very high. So I don't really care about whether he's new or not. He needs to win the league. That is the standard they have set. But look, again, the pitches of our league, in Ketia, this is week number 2. Yeah. There's no way the BBNE pitch, if not worked on, is going to go 16 weeks. Because we play how many games? Is it 30 to 34 games? 34 games. There's no way it's going to go 17 weeks at home without it getting worse than what we see now. And then the Accra Sports Stadium, the least said about it, the better. I pity these boys because it completely takes away their technical ability, the ability to showcase the talent they've got. That is why, most often than none, when our teams go to the Northern African countries where the pitches are really green, they tend to struggle.
They can't play.
Because they are not used to such pitches. Yeah. And the technique that you need to exhibit on such pitches will have to be rehearsed week in, week out, over and over again before you can get better. But hey, we are in the second week of our league. One thing that needs to be emphasized is the impact the referees are having on the league. That Kotoko disallowed, that goal that was disallowed for BBNE Gold Stars. Maybe I need to be educated on that, but I didn't see anything wrong with the goal. I think the goalkeeper made a save in an attempt to distribute the ball. He maybe overreacted or he didn't do what, and then he left the ball. The ball was, once it's off his hand, it's in play. And the striker did nothing wrong when he pounced and then planted the ball in the back of the net. I don't know whether at the time of him taking the ball from the goalkeeper, the keeper's hand was it. If the goalkeeper's hand was on the ball, then of course, that could be the reason why it was disallowed. But from what I just saw and for what I have seen on social media and then, I don't think that was the sort. That, in my view, was a perfect goal. In week number 2, coaches have already started complaining about the refereeing in our league. It cannot be so. It has to stop. It has to get better.
Somebody was giving a car for being overall best referee.
See, it has to stop somewhere. It needs to get better. what at all do they want to get them to improve? Are we just bringing anybody at all because the person comes in and says, I want to be a referee? Look, we need to go back and then try and make our referee better in this country.
Edwin, snap thoughts on both Kotoko and Hearts of Oak, especially Kotoko's start to the season.
Quick thoughts. What stuck out to me in the Kotoko BBNE game was how many ways BBNE got at Kotoko. It wasn't just long ball over the top and then a striker whacks the ball into the net. If Kotoko were packed inside the box, they tried long shots. They tried crosses into the box. If Kotoko were spread out, there were short passes. If Kotoko came forward and didn't drop back quickly enough, the counter-attack, that transition was there. So I think our teams have evolved from a one-way style of playing into a different level of tactics. But for Kotoko, as you said, not the best start to the season. Winless after 2 games. For a club like Kotoko, you'd expect them to start the season running. But it seems they've lost a bit of that fear factor that made them Kumasi Asante Kotoko. In times past, Kotoko would walk into the stadium and everyone would be scared. The players themselves would be shivering. And then they would find a way to get the win. But it doesn't seem to be working out that way anyway. For Hearts of Oak, it's the same situation. Fortunately for them, they managed to find what I'll say a very well worked but eventually lucky goal for them. But I'm impressed with the way they held out defensively. They didn't overcommit themselves after the goal. They were able to solidify themselves, and Swachuma didn't get too many chances to equalize. And that is a plus for them, that they at least are defensively solid. Eventually, they'll hope that the goals start to flow for them. But it's been a very good start to the season generally. Even Mediama are struggling to buy a win.
Start the season.
So but it's been a very good start to the season.
That is a worry. If Mediama are struggling after 2 games, that is a worry, because they have a 3-1 advantage in the Champions. We need them to get into the group stages of the Champions League. You don't want to go into that return leg in Guinea, not
in the best of form.
Be in the best of form.
Winless in like 3 matches.
It's a worry, to be honest with you. And whoever is in charge, quickly, they need to find a way of find an antidote to the dip in form. Because look, if they come so close, if they were to throw away a 3-1
I'm not sure when they'll
advantage,
make it back to this stage again.
I'm not sure they are going to recover from it.
Yeah. Let me read a few messages before we move on to the foreign front. So this one here from Ejabe from Bonyere, I think that's what it is. It says, if Arsenal want to win the league, they need to sack Mikel Arteta because tactically he is not good. So Kingsford Ejabe with that one. This one here is from Manaman. From Manaman says so from Doma Henkra, says, good evening, Ben and Pandits. Abysmal performance yesterday, but a deserving win. Eric Ten Hag and his players need to improve their performances going forward. This one says, you've gone off air because in Nigeria we can't get you. So I'm sure it's something for our technical people to note. This one here is from Ni Adote from Abokobi. Says that I was at the stadium to watch Accra Hearts of Oak today. Performance was below par. More room for improvement, but let me single out Osei Esibe. He was superb. Kudos to Man United. It's okay. This one here says, good evening, Ben. Always nice to join you guys on Scorecard. Man United fan. Can't wait to hear from Coach. P.S. Joshua from Taifa. Okay. This one's from somebody coming in from Tema. He didn't add his name. Says, Ben, is Klopp still at post? I guess you changed your stance about him, but still, we need VVD's replacement. Says, you never walk alone forever. This one here is from Henry from Amasaman, Green City. Says, greetings to you guys. Extremely excited for my team Barcelona over our incredible comeback. Okay. And this one here also from Yankson from Dansoman. Seriously speaking, it's difficult to deduce what's making Chelsea such. Okay, it says Chelsea's problem this season is difficult to deduce and why they can't win. Because I think they have quality players at their disposal. Please, Coach Chris, what is their problem? So, Coach, we'll get to it in a bit. But let's get to the foreign front now. Let's get to some of the action that took place. Manchester City, they were up against Nottingham Forest. We also have Burnley taking on Man United. So let's do back-to-back highlights. Okay, so wins for the 2 Manchester clubs. Let me start with you, Edwin. Manchester City winning 2-0 against Forest. I was disappointed in Forest because they had a numerical advantage for a good part of the second half, couldn't make it count. I'm not sure what you made of that.
Well, I was very impressed with Man City in the first half. They were totally dominant for about 35 minutes in that game, and we saw those goals. The first goal was actually a wonderful team goal. 46 passes led to that goal, and that's the second most passes for a goal in the Premier League history.
Wow.
So you can tell that this is a well-drilled team. In the second half, they showed exactly how well-drilled they are after Rodri got that silly red card. How even when they had to be defensive, the players all stuck to their duty and played to the manager's instructions. You saw Haaland making runs even when he couldn't get the ball. He knew he couldn't get the ball, but the plan was to put pressure on the defenders, not give them enough time to make those passes, to get into good positions. We saw that from Foden as well. We saw every single Manchester City player play to the manager's instructions in the second half, and he was so impressed. You might be disappointed by the fact that Nottingham Forest couldn't make the most of that advantage, but it speaks so much to the work that Pep Guardiola has done with the squad to get them to, even when they are not at their best, to play a certain way.
And to be honest, I mean, look, if you were watching the game and you chanced on the game, right? You didn't start from the beginning. You wouldn't know that Manchester City had a red card. They looked really normal. They were attacking when they had to, defended really well as a unit. I think they're just looking very scary to beat after just 6 game weeks.
11v11, City are better than 90% of the Premier League. 10v11, that is when they get to the level of some of the other teams, the mid teams, the bottom half of the table teams. And the quality in that side, even on the bench, that they were able to bring on to solidify that defense was very impressive. And there's been a lot of talk about how Man City are able to keep up this intensity even after winning the treble last season. And it's the way Pep has refreshed the squad. Of the players who are still in the team, you have who have enjoyed a lot of success with the squad. You have maybe Rodri, Walker, Edison. The rest are players who are now in their getting to their formative phases.
A lot of them came in 2 years, 3 years ago.
Desperate to win. And you have Foden, who, even though he's enjoyed a lot of success with Man City, he's never been that central.
He's not been established.
He's not been a star player in those teams. And this is his chance to become that. And he's taking that opportunity along with Alvarez, along with Haaland. And even though they are going to miss Rodri for a couple of games and in an important game against Arsenal, there's a lot of cover. And in Matheus Nunes, they have a player in midfield who is showing that he has a lot of quality as well. So I'm not worried about this City team as well. I just see them growing from strength to strength.
No De Bruyne, no problem. Coach, let's talk about Man United and their game against that game they won by 1 goal against Burnley. I was disappointed in Burnley because they played really good football, crisp passing, solid. United hung on and took their opportunities, clearly because they are better quality. But if Ten Hag watched that game and he is doing a film session with his players, what are some of the key attributes that he would want to point out or correct going into his next match?
I think, look, we did a game on radio, and I did say that Burnley is a very good team with the ball.
True.
So as a coach, if you're going to face them, you should decide whether you want to go toe-to-toe with them or press them high up the pitch and then match them for possession. But I think Ten Hag yesterday was very spot on with his tactics. The only deficiency in what he did yesterday was the presence of Scott McTominay, who just would not allow this team to also keep the ball and play in a certain way. Why am I saying so? Burnley knew, everybody knows, that when United wants to build from the back as it stands, if they give the ball to Onana, then if you can block the channel of Casemiro, Onana, after going to Lindelof, will come back to Onana, then will go to Evans or whoever, they'll go back to Onana. It is only when Martinez is in the game, he's also very good with the ball and he can pass the ball forward. So if you block the channel to Casemiro, Martinez picks it up and he can also pass the ball forward. And United can easily build from the back and go on the ascendancy. But for yesterday's game, if you look at what Ten Hag will be worried about is the fact that if Amrabat does not start playing in midfield alongside Casemiro, he cannot rely on Eriksen because Eriksen as a midfielder will not win any tackle in the middle of the park. That is a huge minus for every coach if you're a midfielder. You should find a way of being able to take the ball off your opponent. Eriksen have shown game after game, week after week,
he's not up for
he's
it.
not that type. So maybe his best position will be to move into that number 10 role. But look at who he's competing with there in the role. The most influential player in the team in Bruno Fernandes.
True.
So yesterday, the fact that Bruno had to go wide to accommodate
Eriksen.
Hannibal, not Eriksen didn't come into the team, was, I think he
played really well yesterday.
According to Ten Hag, he did his job perfectly. Because what he really did was to stop Burnley from transiting through the middle of the park. So he forced them to go wide. And yesterday...
Was he a number 8? Hannibal Mejri?
No, yesterday he was more or less playing in front of Casemiro and Scott McTominay. So in that number 10 role, the more or less very defensive when United had to defend.
Hold your thoughts there. I'll come back to you so you can elaborate more on this United game. Let's take a short break here. When we come back, we'll get more into that Man United win, what they need to do going forward, because, again, they've not been scoring a lot of goals. So we'll talk about that. A lot more to come on Scorecard. Stay with us here. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. We're talking about that Manchester United game against Burnley. Just wrapping up your thoughts on that.
So, again, going forward, one of the basic things he needs to do is to call Marcus Rashford into the office on Monday morning and get him to understand. Look, take it or leave it. He's one of the most untouchable in the team. But the young man is refusing to grow as a player.
How so?
He had a fantastic season last season. Everybody knows that Marcus Rashford is one of the obvious goal scorers in the Man United team. But there are times where you need to play for the team and stop being too much of yourself. Yesterday, and in previous games, especially the game against Brighton, there were glimpses of that against Bayern Munich. Yesterday, it became even more clearer and obvious that because he's not scoring, he's been tempted to force the ball into the net. That is what I mean by he not growing as a player. On 2 occasions, especially in that last 5 minutes, there was a solid counter-attacking move. The ball was given to him by Bruno Fernandes. Look at the ground that Casemiro. Look, that is why I say Scott McTominay has got no business being in this team. Because if you watch that sequence again, Casemiro was behind Scott McTominay when the ball was given to Marcus Rashford. But look at the area or the distance he covered. Rashford, per his ability, attracted 4 Burnley defenders to him. All he needed to do after dancing and twisting and dancing and twisting, he just needed to roll the ball to Casemiro and United would have gone up by 2-0. He didn't do that. So in that last minute, when Amrabat committed that foul, that resulted in a set piece. If Burnley had capitalized on that, as a coach, if I'm doing my analysis, I will not even look at that. I will look at, we shouldn't have gotten here. We could have killed this before there. So in my tactical post-match analysis, I'll be looking at Rashford and say, look, young man, it is not about you. It is about this team. Yes, you are important. Don't worry. The goals will come. This is week number 6. You scored a beautiful goal at the Emirates. It is just a matter of time, and it will be coming every week in, week out. Try and build a solid chemistry with Rasmus Højlund. Bruno Fernandes has always been the player who will create the most chances in the EPL. So begin to work for the team and all things. Look, this team will get better. If you are a United fan, calm down. Amrabat was introduced yesterday. I still maintain
played about 4 or 5 minutes.
that he's the pivot to this team. When he comes alongside Casemiro, he's a good passer of the ball. He carries the ball better. He protects it better. He wins it off the opponent. He stamps his authority on games. It can only get better. So don't worry. There are now some winnable games from now on. there's Brentford, there's Crystal Palace, I think, in midweek.
Yeah.
There's Brentford, there's Sheffield. Clear all those, and then get yourself into some rhythm.
Yeah.
Because the next big game will be the champions in town. And that one too, it has got nothing to do with form. It's about
I always
happening
like
on the
your
day.
confidence when it comes to those games. And we just snap thoughts on Burnley for me. If you are a Burnley player or even Vincent Kompany, it's very hard to be discouraged by yesterday's defeat because I thought they were the better team. They were unlucky in some phases of the game. What did they get goals for?
Oh, that's the question that they need to answer. Vincent Kompany said after the game that there's been some improvements in the squad, and I completely agree. Earlier in the season, they were absolutely beating 3 goals, conceding 3 goals every single game. In the game against Nottingham Forest, we saw signs of them improving, and it's because they seem to have found a balance between attack and defense. Yeah. In the Nottingham Forest game, they didn't go all out gang ho, and we saw that in the United game as well. The problem is how much time they dwell on passing the ball. They keep passing the ball around. However, it allows teams to who are in transition to get back quickly and settle and put their defensive position in place, which means they don't have any space to get through anymore. And he needs to start working on that. Their passing needs to be crisper, needs to be quicker.
Yep.
If they are going
overpass the ball.
They overpass the ball.
True.
And that final pass into the box never seems to come. Even when they get chances, a lot of the times they miss it. Yeah. You can't be missing chances if you are a team like Burnley who barely creates any chances anyway. So a lot for them to improve on, but I see signs that they are getting there. As long as they start getting the points, they almost did against United. They did against Nottingham Forest, which was their first of the season. Yeah. If they keep playing this way, if they start getting the 1, 2, 1, 3 points, 1.3 points, it will improve their players' confidence. Right now, I feel that some players might have their heads down, but the recent performances will be encouraging, not just to the manager, but to them as well. And once they have their fans behind them, knowing that, okay, they can play better, things will start improving.
Just one point on Vincent. I think he himself, what he needs to do is to more or less bring in some of the experienced guys, like Rodriguez. I think he should be looking at him to start games. Because where they've gotten to now, you need somebody who's been there before. And what Rodriguez will bring to them is that target man. It's like, it's all about the movement, off the ball movement. And you need to be a Man City, an Arsenal, to be able to do that to perfection. What he needs to do is to get them a target man, somebody who will bring some form of variation. Yesterday in the game, you saw that after some time, they resorted to what? Route
Long
one
goal.
sort of football. So that is what Rodriguez will bring. So he needs to, as a manager, tweak it a bit, get the guys to move in and around Rodriguez and get him to be the focal point of the attack. And with time, I agree on 100% with what Edwin just said. With time, I think they will begin to score goals because they need to score to win games. If they don't score,
you don't win games. Well, let's get to a game that had a lot of goals. It was the North London derby. It was Arsenal hosting Tottenham Hotspur at the Emirates. In the end, it was deadlock, ended 2-2. Son Heung-min is having himself quite the season. After that, we'll check out Chelsea's game versus Aston Villa. So back-to-back highlights. Check it out. Let's start off with the North London derby and let's talk about that game. Cracker, 4 goals, 2 for Son. Eddie Nketiah not really showing up. Bukayo Saka getting a penalty for Arsenal. In the end, who is the happy manager after that game?
I think, of course, the Spurs manager. He'll be the most
an away point
at your biggest rival. Look, I think he'll be the most happier of the 2 managers. But look, let's go back to the game again. I think Arsenal had a wonderful start. Super start. That is what you want to happen in big games of this nature. Then Spurs, in that first 45 minutes, in the first 30 minutes of the first half, Spurs couldn't cope. Arsenal kept coming at them. It was because Declan Rice was in his element. It was because the
Portuguese international,
the Portuguese boy Vieira and Odegaard was absolutely brilliant. I think what Arsenal didn't do that well. Yes, they tried to play through Saka. I thought they should have done it a bit more because his marker was on the card.
Udogie.
He got the card very early. So you want to tempt him the more by risking the red card to see whether the coach of Spurs will completely realize that, look, this cannot go on us. We cannot afford to go a man down.
Yeah.
But having said that, there was some sloppy defensive work on the part of Arsenal. That first goal, yes, I agree the goalkeeper could have dealt with it, but at least he prevented it from going to the goal. What he should have done was to palm it over the bar toward concede the corner kick. But because he couldn't do that, Arsenal had 2 opportunities to clear the ball. Okay? And then look at Saka. He was too weak in the tackle against Maddison.
Yeah.
If I'm the coach,
Just brushed him off.
I am screaming his name to the hearing of everybody on that. Look, if you don't take care, I could even stop him because of that.
Yeah.
Because you don't let
Just
go.
let him brush him
It's a 1v1 situation with his back facing goal. You allow him to turn you and go and do the pull out, planted to the back of the net. Mikel Arteta, in that second half, I still don't understand why Declan Rice was substituted.
He said Declan Rice complained about the back discomfort.
Okay, then,
and so they had to take him out.
Then
Then he was asked about Vieira. He says the Fabio Vieira substitution was tactical.
So he paid for it because I don't understand what Havertz came into the game to do. What exactly did he do? He brought nothing on the table. He brought nothing there because at the end of the day, he will not win balls. His movement, his body language, his body shape, everything completely not interested in what is being done. For the fact that you had brought in Jorginho in place of your natural ball winner in the team, it simply tells you that you need some form of workaholics around Jorginho, because Jorginho, people talked about his ability to pass the ball, control game.
His passing all goes back into the side.
Sideways. If that is his way of controlling the game, then I can get in there and control these games with ease.
You mean with cheeky?
With cheeky, I can get and control them with ease. And look, Arsenal scored the second goal.
Yeah.
And look, for me, anytime a team concede in this manner, it's either the players
they were still celebrating.
That cannot happen at this level.
They were still mentally all over the place.
It cannot happen at this level.
Yeah.
Manchester United went to the Emirates, scores the first goal. Arsenal restarted the game. Boom, they had equalized. So if anybody should understand,
it should be Arsenal.
It should be Arsenal. Now look, we did the same thing to Manchester United. We will not allow Spurs to, or any other team, to do this to us, because we are told week in, week out that we are most vulnerable when we are in that celebratory mood. They were celebrating. What sort of goal was that? You are celebrating from a penalty goal. A goal that, come on, you put away, and so what? Stay focused. Stick to the game plan and do it. And the most disastrous of all was that they had the possession of the ball. And Jorginho, look, he had 4 options. He could have gone back to the goalkeeper. He could have gone back to any of the 2 centre-back. He could have gone back to the...
Maybe sometimes having too many options is problematic, because then you can't decide what to do.
Look, this guy is an Italian international. This guy has won the Euros. And we all saw
one of their best players at the
how good a player he can be, or he was during that tournament. And for him to have committed such a blunder, this is Arsenal's biggest game of the season. Because every Arsenal fan, if you ask them what game or which game do you
care about winning,
they will tell you they want to beat Spurs.
This is this game,
This is the game they don't play with at all. But again, a texter just questioned the tactical awareness of Mikel Arteta. Look, to some extent, I think, look, he's been there for 5 years now, isn't it? 4 years now. That is enough a time.
This is his team.
He has built this team. So he should get them to understand how to respond or how to react through the moment. I thought that after scoring that second goal, tactically, they should have just scored and see how Spurs would respond for the next 3 to 5 minutes. Coaches are told that when your team score, get everybody in shape, put men behind the ball, get proper defensive line cover, and see whether your opponent will come and throw an immediate response at you. If they don't, in the first 5, even if they do, your shape will enable you to push them backwards. Then you can now regain control of the game and start teasing them, where now they will now come out to commit mistakes in an attempt to restore parity. Then you go and punish them, which is the most important goal. And for me, that was a letdown. A quick point on Chelsea. We have sat here. We have said it. I have said it. I don't think they will make top 6. It will take a miracle for them to make top. Not because they don't have good players. The players there are good. They are one for the future. But in buying these players, whoever bought these players did not give this thing the obvious. Every team needs a natural goal scorer. If you look at
their own history should tell them.
Their own history should tell them. If you look at the record of Nicholas Jackson, I said he will not give you 18 or 20 plus goals. It will not happen. Raheem Sterling, these two guys are the only 2 natural goal threat in this Chelsea team. Maybe until Nkunku returns, whatever Chelsea do in the attacking sense, their obvious goal scorers are these 2. They themselves, they are not renowned goal scorers. If I am the head coach of Chelsea, every player in this team who has braided the hair will have to go and loosen the braid. No, don't laugh. No. You see, look at the silly red card that Balogusto conceded. Where was the Arsenal Villa player going?
What has that got to do with their head?
Look at his hairstyle. You can clearly see that.
Didier Drogba was putting up the perm and still getting goals.
Look, Drogba could sit in his house and put the cream in there and comb it and watch it. This guy goes to the saloon or to the hairdresser and sits there for hours.
I can't believe this.
You see, I would have thought that anytime you see him, maybe he will braid once a month or one, and they keep it in there for 2-3 months. But anytime you see him, it looks fresh.
He has touched up with a new style.
Meaning, instead of him to focus on football, he's going to the saloon or to sit down, and he's not focused.
Oh my God.
Look, they should get him to cut that thing and focus on football. And so that he will be concentrated on whatever he has to do. Look, you may see it to be very funny, but when players spend time that you should be resting.
There are managers who actually don't like these things.
What is that?
Yeah.
You cannot do this under Sir Alex Ferguson. You cannot do this under Pep Guardiola. Maybe you see, look, Nathan Ake, he's a natural rasta. So he just go in there and wash it. 2 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 seconds. Then he goes. You go and sit there for 8 hours to get that thing done. 8 hours minimum. What is that?
Word to Malo Gusto. Coach says that stop spending time on your hair and focus on
the game and play to. Because look, Chelsea, they are in big trouble.
They look like they're in trouble.
They are in big. They have 5 from a possible 18. No matter the process, no matter how people are being told to believe in the process, we need to see the process working. Don't blame Pochettino. He needs time. I do still maintain that Eric Ten Hag needs time. Whatever Pochettino. But let's see the basic things being done well. Players fully focused on the job, fully concentrated on the job, and going about their job in a certain way that will bring progress to whatever the coach and the technical team are doing.
I'll get to Edwin in a bit, but let me read a few messages here. This one here coming in says, Ben, I like your signature when coach is pointing out our serious problems in the local league. To all the Man United fans, they should support the team and stop the plenty negative comments even after a good win. Joe from Insawam with that one. This one here says, the problem with my club Chelsea is that we just fail to buy the right players willing to play. When rebuilding a club, you don't completely phase out the old and experienced players. You bring in new ones and gradually they learn and gel alongside the old and experienced ones. That's how you rebuild a team. This one here says, when you think coach will wear a United jersey, he wears a Bayern jersey. Sally Al-Hassan from Brekum with that one. This one says, blessing from Trade Fair, says, we'll never walk alone, Liverpool forever. Adrian from Sakumono says, it's a sensational super showdown Sunday. The most watched TV show in Ghana on Sunday evening is upon us again. I'm elated because my Barca came from behind to win and see one-man team Real Madrid lose, okay? I think you mean the Jude Bellingham team. Clue Frederick from Pokwase says that Chelsea bought a bunch of young prospects with little or no experience. It's not a good time being a football fan. Kotoko is also killing us locally. Chelsea is finishing us internationally. Charlie, this guy is suffering. This one here says, failing to buy decent and experienced players who could have had a very low fee. Madison, Ward, Bowen, etc. I think you mean Ward Prowse, okay. But we rather signed high school teenagers without experience and are also failing to give them the opportunity, loaning them unnecessarily. We are yet to suffer more. This one also says, Liverpool all the way. Coach always bragging about Amrabat. Can't wait for him to make a full day, to play a full game. He's not that good, really. United itself is a problem. So somebody says your Amrabat is not that good.
In that role, take it or leave it. If it's not good, Juventus, Liverpool, Atletico, name them. He turned all of them down. True or false?
Well,
he turned them down.
Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll let Edwin have his take on what is going on at Chelsea, and then we can delve into that Liverpool game. Then we can have a take on some of the other games happening around the rest of Europe. Stay with us, more to come on Scorecard. Welcome back. This is Scorecard here on Citi TV. We are still on the Premier League. Edwin, let's talk about Chelsea real quick. Your takeaways from that game that you witnessed. Not happy times.
Definitely not. And I'd like to address one of the messages that talked about leaving some of the experienced players along with the young players. I get there's a tendency to blame the owners because they're new, they made a lot of changes. And I blame them for a lot too, not getting a proper striker when they realized Nkunku was injured. But how many of those experienced players wanted to stay at Chelsea? Aspilicueta wanted out. Koulibaly wanted out. Mendy wanted to go. Pulisic wanted to go. Lukaku did not want to stay.
Thiago Silva didn't go as well.
It was very surprising.
For him, he stayed because the manager asked him to stay. Because he's worked with them before.
Yeah.
So getting those players to stay is not the easiest thing. So they asked the manager to work with what they had.
Plus, Chelsea needed to balance their books because you had bought so many players.
Exactly. And look, things aren't going well. Chelsea is struggling to score goals. They are creating lots of chances. The players are not putting them away. This game against Aston Villa is the worst I've seen Chelsea play this season. There have been games that they've lost, the Nottingham Forest game, but they played much better in that game.
Created chances and actually
created a
missed
lot
them.
of chances. And there was passion from the players. There was commitment from the players in that game. In this game, you could barely see any of that. A lot of people will say, oh, it was the red card. Aston Villa got the advantage after a red card. Chelsea were poor in that first half. They were poor before the red card came. They were poor after. So you can't blame the red card solely for that. There are three stats that worry me about this Chelsea team and give me encouragement. The first is the big chances missed. Chelsea have missed 15 big chances this season. And
Is that the most in the league?
Yeah, that's the most in the league. Of the teams that have missed more than 10 big chances, there's Brentford, who are a place above Chelsea and have scored 9 goals. There's Everton, who have missed 13 big chances, and are a place below Chelsea, have scored 5 goals, same as Chelsea. Then of the two at the top, there's Liverpool and Man City, who have both missed 13 as well. But in their case, they've scored 16 and 15 goals already this season. So it means if you are going to miss chances, you have to take a lot of chances as well. So, and Man City and Liverpool are the highest goal scorers. Everton and Brentford are just with Chelsea this season. So the next start is offsides. Chelsea have committed the most offsides in the league this season. That's 16. It tells me that the players are so eager to get into goal-scoring positions, they are not watching the lines. So everybody is running wherever. They are not taking their time to assess the situations before they move into positions. The last start is woodwork hit. The number of times the woodwork has been hit. Chelsea have hit the woodwork 4 times. That's joint highest. No, the highest team is Liverpool, who have hit 5 times, but that's equal to Brighton.
But you see,
It tells me
people will tell you the pole does not move. He sits there. If you play it, where to go inside.
Well, that's what he said. He
but
says,
it's a bit of luck.
Give me encouragement and discourage me at the same time. So it's,
No, as for the bar hitting, that one day, nobody.
However, those three stats are very worrying in terms of the fact that they are creating chances but not scoring them.
Yeah.
However, I'm encouraged that they are still creating chances.
Yeah.
They are getting into positions where they should be scoring.
Yeah.
They are creating these big chances which they should be taking. The thing missing is someone to put the ball in the back of the net. That's the only thing missing. And January is going to be very important because there are rumors that Chelsea are possibly looking at signing Ivan Toney. Very good box striker with very good poacher who can get you the goals. Nicholas Jackson.
That report's actually gathering a lot of.
It's gathering a lot of momentum.
They have to. Look, it is something they really need to get.
But how do you manage until then?
I was just about to say,
how
that
do you manage
you might be
then?
16th or 17th by the time January comes around
And,
at this
and,
rate.
and truth be told, if he's the one they are going to get,
Yeah.
he wouldn't have played football in more
For a
than
long time.
long
But
time.
well, I mean, like you always say, training off non-competitive training is not the same as training. So
And you need a lot of match fitness as well. So it's going to be a problem. The thing I feel with these players is confidence. Nicholas Jackson, too eager to get goals. He's not scoring. His confidence has taken a hit.
Yep.
Mudryk came in with for a lot of money. He's not getting enough game time. When he comes in, he doesn't get to score. He misses a lot of chances. Confidence takes a hit. Raheem Sterling, he's supposed to be the leader in this team. Supposed to be the most experienced, most successful in this team. He's coming to the team. Things are not working out. Injuries, poor form.
Yep.
He just got dropped from the English national team. His confidence it takes a hit. Conor Gallagher, he's been criticized so much by Chelsea fans. He was supposed to be out of the club in the summer. This is a player who has been a lot of responsibility has been thrust on him, and his people do not trust him. Enzo Fernandez, a lot of reputation, a huge reputation. He's coming there, but he doesn't seem to gel with the other players. He seems to be on a different wavelength. He is like at a 9. The other players are at a 6 and 7. And you as a player, the worst thing is having players who are not on your level.
I'm sorry for him.
Who are not on your level.
I feel pity for him.
Yeah.
Look, truth be told, you watch him week in, week out. He's doing his job.
Yeah.
But the job is such that
It's not being complimented.
that is the problem. That is the problem.
Well, the Chelsea issues are many. Let's get to Liverpool. They are ensuring that they are keeping up the competition with Manchester City. They are 2 points behind Manchester City as things stand now. They were up against West Ham this weekend. Liverpool came out victorious in that game. Let's get the highlights. So all 3 points for Liverpool, 3 goals as well. Coach, just quick thoughts on that.
I think we've seen a completely different Liverpool compared to last season. Last season, they wouldn't have won such a game. They would have more or less crawled themselves, eventually draw or lose.
Yeah.
But I think the players are back to the level that we all know they can get to, and the inclusions. What Jurgen Klopp has done, he's actually changed the face of the midfield in there, and he's brought in players who are younger, full of energy, and are technicians. Szoboszlai, McAllister. These are very, very good players, and I think they'll go a long way to make Liverpool better. My only worry is when we get to the business and how they're going to manage the Thursday night, Sunday night, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday, Sunday.
It started
football.
already, actually.
Yeah, and they'll have to defend better. Clearly, if you want to match Man City for it, you need to defend better. But so far, so good. If you're a Liverpool fan, you should be really happy that they will take Man City down to the wire.
Well, minus that draw with Chelsea at the start of the season, they've won every game. Let's move on to other leagues and let's see what's going on around Europe. Let's get to Italy. AC Milan were up against Verona, and then we'll get to Sassuolo also against Juventus. So Juventus lost this weekend to Sassuolo. Very surprising result there. So let's get back-to-back highlights, the Italian Serie A. I'm sure Juventus won't want to see a rerun of this particular game again. That was some terrible...
Look, I think it's a game that Chesney
He threw the game away.
should never look at again. He should never look at it. He should be apologizing to his teammates and the technical team in the dressing room. He was at fault for the first goal.
Yep.
He was at fault for the third goal. And look at the fourth goal. What was he thinking? You had... These are so schoolboy.
I think his spirit was
elementary.
I think
Schoolboy
he was out
goalkeeping.
of it at that. He had checked out mentally.
A set piece given to you. Look at where he came to take the pass
Yeah.
or to then you went across your goal. You know that you are not in the goal. You should be hitting the ball into the half of the opponent. Rather, you are going across.
Yeah.
And look at the pass too. I think it was a very bad defeat. If you see, if I think the Italian Serie A will be the most competitive league this season in Europe. Because if you look at what Inter are beginning to do, there's Napoli, there's Juventus, there's AC Milan, there's Lazio. So I think it's going to be very competitive. All these teams are there, and most of them are in the Champions League. Juve is the only big team in Italy who is not involved in any European competition. So if you want to stay in the mix, you don't do such giveaways. And look, Max Allegri will be absolutely mad.
Yeah.
I watched the game actually. I followed the game, and you could clearly see that Allegri just could not necessarily finding an antidote to how to, because they were making
mistake after mistake.
These were individual errors,
yeah.
and as a coach, it becomes very difficult when you have to sort out individual mistakes.
Talk to me about, AC Milan. Very interesting season for them. The league has been fine so far. Champions League has not been that great. They look like they are still integrating a lot of their newer players. What do you like so far about them, this company?
Well, for Milan in this game, it was about getting back to winning ways. They had a tepid start to the Champions League campaign.
Yeah.
They should have beaten Newcastle. Unfortunately, they couldn't take their chances.
Yeah. And the last Serie A game was a whacking by Inter Milan.
Inter Milan. And one of the players who was at fault for that failure to beat Newcastle, Rafael Leao, he actually took his chance in this game.
Yeah.
You said that they are integrating a lot of new players, trying to get them to work with the old players. It worked for part of the season, but eventually as time goes on, a lot of teams will figure them out. A lot of scouting teams will take a look at the videos, see how the players are working, eventually figure them out. It's up to the players themselves to, work it out along with the manager, take their chances when they come to them, and be a little more defensively sound than they were in that game against Inter. Some might say that, the occasion got to them in that game, but once the occasion gets to you in one game, and another game, it might start getting to you. You might start losing confidence, and eventually the losses come. But they got back to winning ways, which was the important thing. As coach said, it's going to be a very competitive Serie A season. So if you start losing points right now, and your rivals keep getting points, rivals like Inter Milan keep winning, you can't afford to drop behind in the race right now. So this win was very important against a team that was very, very defensively solid, apart from that one moment that they took advantage of. So a good win, not the best performance, but we are going to see that from them in coming games.
Well, Inter Milan will definitely test everybody else. They've conceded just once this season, so unbeaten as well. Looking very impervious as things stand now. Let's get to the German Bundesliga. Harry Kane is doing hurricane things. He got a hat-trick, the first of his Bayern career, and then we'll check out that game between Borussia Dortmund and Wolfsburg as well. So back-to-back highlights, German Bundesliga. Let me take Edwin's thoughts. Edwin, Kane hat-trick, Dortmund winning 1-0.
Look, Kane has started his Bayern career very successfully.
How many goals already?
I think seven in the league.
Yeah, 7 in the league, which is very impressive. To go into a new league and then it starts so impressively, I'm very happy for him. Bayern seem to be in a very good place. They finally broken that goal scoring that's against United. They managed to score 4.
Yeah.
They've scored 7. So they are starting to build up that goal scoring form. For Dortmund, it wasn't the easiest win. But to see Marco Reus get the goal for them, a player who stood by them for so long, who's been their leader, very unfortunate with injuries, but he's come good for them so many times. So this was a very good day for them.
Let's get to the Spanish La Liga. And it was a really good game this weekend between Celta Vigo and Barcelona. Celta Vigo, really, they looked like they were going to win the game at a point. And then some way, somehow, within 8 minutes, they managed to throw it all away. Just enjoy the highlight. So a really complete performance from Barcelona there. Cancelo really sparking that comeback from Barca. Coach, just snap us before we go.
It has to do with the coach. I think Xavi, he's told them it's not over until it is over. Because with 9 minutes to the end of the game, they were trailing 2-0. But for them to have done what they did, tactically, they had to be motivated. Keep going. Keep doing whatever you are doing. All they needed to do was to get the ball to Lewandowski, who again showed that under such very difficult situations, you get the chance to him, he's going to put them away. And that it was a super win that has gotten them to the top of the league, because Real Madrid needed to win to go back top, and they couldn't win against Atletico.
20 seconds, just final thoughts on that one.
A very impressive comeback. I think both managers, it was the managers, down to the managers. Rafael Benitez, poor substitutions, taking off crucial players. Xavi's brilliant substitutions, bringing on Balde especially, and Lamine Yamal. He was very good in that game, sparked the comeback. Very good result for Barcelona.
So good result for Barca. Thank you guys out there who sent in messages to the show. Thank you guys who also tuned in to watch the show. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Edwin. Same time next week, Scorecard will be back on your screens.